the imagination helped me and can help anybody. Like whenever you're in despair, or whenever you are in a situation that you don't wish upon yourself, you don't want to be that there, how are you going to get out of that if you don't create a new situation? So you have to start with your imagination, right?
Alrighty, Anna, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing so awesome. Like, thank you for doing this. This is actually really special. I mean,
Thank you for having me.
you've been in my life for a few weeks. Has it only been a few weeks? Like exactly?
Kind of
Ish.
3-4-ish.
Three to four. And it's really cool. I'm excited to have this conversation with you because you emulate the decision that we went through together, but you ultimately had to make, right? Of
Yes.
listening to fear or listening to intuition. And that's really what I want to talk about today is which one is talking, which one do we follow? How do we know which, like just the talk of back and forth of intuition versus fear? Because we've all had that decision of, oh man, I knew it. I should have listened, because you didn't.
Mm-hmm.
You listened to fear instead.
Yeah.
And then what we'll hear from your story is like, no, you listened to your intuition and it was amazing, but it was still scared the crap out of you.
Yes. Yes.
Right? So let's just start like how we met. I think it would be a really cool, just from the beginning,
Background.
just take your time to give context of how we met,
Yep.
and what all that fun stuff. So start from the beginning.
Yeah, let's do that. Well, should we go back like 3 to 4 weeks?
Yeah, let's go to the beginning.
Or a little bit longer than that, because around Christmas time, New Year's, my daughter started nagging about getting TikTok, right? Should we go back there?
Yeah, let's do it.
To TikTok. So she was like, she's 8.5, soon to be 9, and she wanted to get TikTok because everybody has TikTok in school right now, and she wanted to do that as well. And I didn't let her for a while, but then I of course gave in, and with some rules around it, we opened TikTok, and she started with her TikTok. And we were just scrolling one day, and we came across your page, or she came across your page. And I'm like, wait, hold up, stop scrolling. And then I just, checked in your page, and I'm like, oh, it's personal developing and stuff like this on TikTok. I didn't know. I thought it was just like dancing and stuff, and those sketches. And then, from there to your Instagram, to following you, and just like getting a good vibe and impression from your page, and like, okay, this is the kind of stuff I usually follow and I'm pursuing myself. So that's what happened. And once I followed you, you sent me this message inbox saying like, hey Anna, thanks for following, and let me know what you want to see on my page, follow this or check out this. And I was like, oh, but this never happened before, like people don't do this. So I was responding, and I was like, oh yeah, cool, okay. So that's when we started talking, and this was like, okay, of course, fast forwarding from Christmas until like February, right? And so since me and my friend are aspiring to start a business, we started looking at your homepage, of course, and saw that you collab with different companies, with helping them in their building up, or in any way that you can help them what is needed. So we were like, oh, maybe we should contact you concerning that. So I think I DM'd you once again, and we started talking about that. And we set up a call, right? Like it was a Thursday, like 3 weeks ago or something like that, I think.
That's what's crazy. It probably was legitimately
Thursday.
Yeah, that's crazy, actually.
Yeah, and Thursday I flew out to the States 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, this was legit 3 weeks. It feels like we've known each other for a lifetime.
I know. And it was like,
that's so cool.
It's so cool. It's so amazing. And so yeah, so we got to talking about this, like what would it entail for us to work with you, or you to work with us, like what would it entail, and what would it require from us, and like how would that be. And yeah, we got to talking about that, and we got to the call, and then we talked about, yeah, building the business and everything around that. And that was like a Thursday, probably 3 weeks
Yeah.
ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what you didn't know at that time was that something happened in my family the day before on Wednesday night. We received some really, 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 really horrible news and devastating news that shook us all. Uh, and also concerning that event that was like going on for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it got worse and worse. But this was like in the background, right? I only think mentioned something to you regarding that, but then I didn't mention at all, because that put me in a state of, I would say, darkness and despair, in some way. Not totally, but I felt really shocked concerning that. So I think it's
Well,
important to
unbeknownst
know
to
that.
me, so you had, something happened in your family close to you Wednesday night, unbeknownst to me, but we still talked on Thursday, and I couldn't even tell. But so you were in a state of despair.
I would say that I was pretty much in like fear and not knowing what was going to happen concerning the news. I think one day I will probably talk about what happened publicly, because I know that could help somebody else. But right now, because it's still so fresh and it's
Yeah.
so private, I'm choosing to keep it. But I also want to share like what I went through concerning feelings. So yes, I was in despair. I was in fear of what could happen, like out of control, not feeling like I could control it. And concerning this person in my family, I have always been like one that person reached out for help and for comfort and other things as well. So yeah, so our call Thursday night, it was like, okay, so I got this shocking news Wednesday, and I was like, okay, so I'm supposed to like reset and let's do it. I'm gonna have this call with Ben. And I was like thinking, I don't want to miss this, because this opportunity, of course we could reschedule it and everything, but in myself, like the conversation that was going on in my head was more like, okay, so I have this opportunity, and despite this crazy thing that just happened to me, I still want to do the call as much as I can. That's why I just mentioned to you in the beginning, like, okay, so this happened, just so you know, but let's just do this. So
So
I
on a
kind of,
stop right there, actually, because we haven't talked about this there, because what we're getting to is the moment of, intuition versus fear that I know that I'm aware of. But even this, even on a smaller scale of you still taking that call was still a moment of like, you could have definitely said, oh, like this is too hard for me, or I'm not feeling it, or whatever.
mm-hmm,
You
mm-hmm.
was that, did you think those things, or
Oh
was it all
yeah,
okay?
sorry.
No, yeah. So were you like, what were you thinking of? Should I take this call? Should I not take the call?
Yeah, I was thinking like, because the morning after, like Thursday morning, I was like, okay, so I checked my schedule, like what I have to do during the day, and I'm like, okay, so I have this call with Ben, and I'm having all these feelings and anxiety, and I was still like up, really, like really, really feeling bad and fearful and anxious, not knowing what was gonna happen. So um, I was thinking like, okay, I want, like, just checking in with myself. Do I want to make that call? Yes. I know it will be so valuable for me and everything that I'm aspiring to do. And I will probably just connect with you and learn and just, that was the thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I was like, but this situation had kind of taken over me emotionally. So I knew, like, I was conscious of not being in that state of like myself, just thriving and being happy and like all the time just being positive. And but I think I managed to do that call anyway, because it was kind of deep. We went like into like my background, my childhood.
Yeah.
You wanted to know, a lot of things about me. And since I'm very open as a person, I was like la 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 la, talking like, like I usually do, like I do now. And I was just like, no, I'm not going to give in to that. So I think that was a moment decision for me, that I was like with myself checking in and saying like, okay, this hit me. This really hit me. This news, this devastating, horrible news. But this has to do with my future and my goals and my dreams. So
Mm.
I want to do it despite what happened.
I
And
love
that
this.
was,
You kind of took yourself out of that moment and were thinking,
yeah,
this is bigger than this one moment.
yes, yes.
Interesting. And that reminds me of a good thing I like to tell people sometimes to help them with decisions or scary moments. It's essentially what you said is, do I want to do this thing? Yes. But I think sometimes is what you can do is you ask yourself this question: does saying yes to this opportunity make me feel heavy and depressed?
Mm-hmm.
Or does saying yes to this make me feel light? Does it make me feel expansive and big and like excited to, like, and if you just close your eyes and ask yourself, does this make me feel expansive or contracted? You'd know
Mm-hmm.
immediately.
Exactly. And that's exactly what happened, in a little bit of like, I wouldn't say automatic because I'm not that enlightened, but I know that the work I have been doing on myself, and the meditation work I have been doing, and the yoga practice I've been doing, and like just practicing my consciousness all of these years ahead, I know how help me in this moment. So I know it takes a level of awareness, and you can practice that awareness. So I know that that has helped me to make that decision out of love and not out of fear, because of course I sense fear. It's like we talked in on the retreat, and I asked you, I'm like, Ben, but this with fear, do you really think that we can live fearless? And you're like, no, but we need to learn how to deal with it. And that's exactly what happened to me in that moment. And we will also talk about the big decision of coming, like, which was a more huge moment and had other aspects involved in it. But just to say, with regarding to that decision, I really sense like, okay, Anna, now you're going into your ego slash fear based mode and decision making. Let's just like take a breath, as you said, just like go back, take a step back, and okay, do I want this? How bad do I want this? How much do I want this? What does it mean to me? And of course, what feelings will it bring to me, and what value does it have for me now and later? Because usually when we give into fear unconsciously, a lot of times we do that because we have this autopilot, right? We have this autopilot, and we are in this like just like impulses, and instinctively we make decisions based on,
It
you
becomes
know.
a habit.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's a habit. And
Exactly.
like we
Thank
talked
you.
about in our membership call, right, is that
Mhm.
with Brad, like really, like fear, it's like we shouldn't judge it because it's literally meant to keep us alive. Like it's a survival mechanism. And so
Yeah.
it's not to judge it. And that's why I like to feel it. It's okay to feel it.
Mhm.
Don't judge yourself for
Mhm.
feeling it, and then don't judge your judging. you know, just like, okay,
Yeah,
I'm feeling
exactly.
it, you
Yeah,
know.
definitely. So that's what I did. I think I did that, like, of course, now reflecting on it and talking about it, like in the moment, of course, I says like that I overcame myself, that I chose the light, or the
Yeah.
I chose, I made a decision out of love. That's what I felt
Mhm.
afterwards, without even like now I'm putting words on it, but like that was the feeling that
Mhm.
I
Love that.
overcame myself. So yeah.
That's cool. I love that. So what's so cool is because people don't know what we're about to get to. And I love this, the sequence of events, because your the transformation that we're going to talk about for you happened so quickly. So I want to preface everyone is from it was more than 3 weeks for you because there's probably so many subsequent, like before we met, there was probably so many things that happened that brought you to this place, right? Or before the TikTok thing. So
A lot of mistakes.
right, like, I want to preface like, oh, just this wasn't like a 3 week thing or a 3 day thing or a 3 month thing. This was a lifetime
Mm-mm.
thing. And so
That's
yes, this transformation we're about to talk and these decisions happen quickly, but it could happen the same for you, quicker for you, or a lot longer because our process is different. And we like, I don't know Anna before this, you don't know Ben before this. And so I just want to preface how important it is to honor your own journey. Seriously, honor your own journey. So what happened? So we talked, we had a good conversation, and then you saw something on Instagram.
Okay, so we fast forward a couple of days after our call, that I still chose to have despite everything that was happening. And a lot of things happened between that Thursday and the weekend, concerning this family situation that got worse. And we got an even bigger shock, I would say Friday, Saturday. And what we were doing like physically here at home, we were trying to keep together and do something like with our family that is here and dealing with this together, just keeping together. So that helped, of course, ease the pain and the anxiety and the fear. But then I was, yeah, um, I took a couple of days off from work because I have a regular 9 to 5 job. I work in an office, and I'm so grateful for all those people as well working there, and my boss who really understood that this was a really special situation that just needed for me to just like take a breath, take a day off, and just just realize what happened. It was a shock. So in that state, I was just like, okay, looking of course at social media and Instagram and like inspiration and all, and boom, there was a story of you on a beach and the beach house, saying something like, yo, one spot left, here's the retreat, who is coming? And that was like just so funny because I responded to that story. I'm like, woohoo, it's me. Just out of sheer like, yeah, I just needed to feel good, just the laughter, just something that like I could like, oh my god, wow, imagine what it would be to be on that beach. So I just responded out of just, yeah, the good vibe and energy that I got from that, because it was like, yeah, just in my imagination maybe then.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that's a good point too, is your imagination. And because I think we forget how important the imagination is, or just like feeling the feelings, even if you're in a time of challenge or struggle or despair, like really kind of imagining and almost just feeling those feelings, of like, wow, that would be so cool to be there. Or
Mm,
if I'm afraid, what would freedom feel like? Or like, how
mm,
does joy feel like doing things, because we don't have to wait, we can do it now. But so
yeah.
I posted this Instagram story. I said, hey, like, here's the house we're staying at. Here's the beach. We have one more spot if he wants to come. And he said, woohoo, like, I want the room, basically.
Yeah,
And then I said,
go
because,
get it.
yeah,
You
so
know.
just so everyone knows, we haven't talked about this yet, I'm not sure, is like, you're from, you live in Sweden. And the retreat, so you responded on Sunday. The retreat started on Thursday. You live in Sweden, and the retreat is in San Diego, California. So obviously, the other side of
The
the world.
background information.
And so for me, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, sweet. Like, that'd be awesome if you can come. But really, I had no expectation. I was like, it's 3-4
And
days
I didn't
away.
even think it was possible then, because once we got to talking about it, I was like, you know, okay, cool. And you're like, oh, that would be awesome. Why not? I mean, it's not impossible. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, and that was just like playing make believe, or how do
Yeah.
So that was all already like, now looking back at it, when I was starting to speak it into existence, like I was starting to really actually manifesting it, but I didn't know what was coming. But I like now afterwards understand that that's the starting point, like when it really got into my imagination. And also, and I was like, oh cool, that would be so cool. And just thinking about that, and not the possibility, the economy, the practical things, who's going to take care of my child, how is work going to do, telling everybody, and like, so
Because, yeah, what you just said, right? You said all the reasons not to. Getting out time off
yeah,
work, of being able to afford it, having someone watch.
that hasn't come to my mind yet until we started talking. Like, so I was like, so a little bit like into that conversation. It's like, okay, so how does this work? How does it go about? What does it cost? Just give me some information, right? I think I asked you just like, can you give me some information, right?
Yeah, so because, yeah, that's what I said, why not? And I actually love that question, because we always literally think, why can't I do this? But why we don't think of the reasons why can, like, what are the benefits what are just like the partial benefits? Like, let's say you say yes, you come to the retreat, it's not what you wished, but then you get to spend a few days in California and you, I don't know, meet the love of your life. I don't know, like something like that. As like, there's so many reasons, unknown benefits or partial success, or if we say no to it, we don't think of what we're losing by saying no. Because it's funny, we think of what we're losing or risking by saying yes, but we don't think of what we lose and risk by saying no.
Yes, and you said the key word, unknown. And the unknown, of course, is so scary. And we are all, not to generalize, but we want to, I think in our nature, we want to stick with the familiar. We want to stick with what is known, with what we know and what we're safe, and our safety and security. Of course, that's the first thing, right? Of course, love, but also for our own safety. So me thinking about, like, I wasn't at that point thinking about like diving into the unknown, or, but of course it is, I think, something that we're all faced with, having to make a decision that is so out of our comfort zone, or out of our, whatever you want to call it. So for me at that point, it was just like kind of, exploring, just like a curiosity. And I think you have to have a dose of curiosity once you want to pursue whatever you dream of. Like, I knew that this for me, like, would be something bigger than myself or anything that I have done before. Once I got the information and everything, I think, the curiosity took over more than, still the thoughts didn't come like, oh, will I be able to, like, is this doable? Is this like, can I like actually go through with this? It was more the curiosity that took over, and the imagination at that point, right then.
Yeah. And then, so you said, okay, let me see if I can make it happen. And then you came back a few hours later, and what happened?
Yeah, so I took the information you told me, like, about what it is, like, of course, all the premises and costs, and what is the program, like all the information needed, of course, for somebody to attend. And I was looking at that information, and I was like, oh, damn. So such a shame. My initial thought was like, I don't think I will be able to afford this and manage financially, because that was the first, like, limitation or hurdle on the way, because it is one of my beliefs around money, and around, like, I think we talked about that the day after, once I told you, like, okay, forget what I said, but we're going to come to that. So I have also realized that, of course, the initial, that's what I said earlier, the automatic responses, or whatever, I'm sorry, the automatic responses are the ones that come up, automatically, and that's what's installed in us.
Conditioned.
Sorry?
Yeah, because that's what you've been trained and conditioned to do, which is completely normal and expected.
Exactly. So that's the first thing that, like, came to my mind, and that was also the first thing that I based my decision off on, because when I felt that, and I'm like, oh shit, this sounds amazing. I looked at the program, everything that we were going to do. See, I was already like, oh, I'm there. But that was in the program, and it was just like, okay. Then the thoughts, of course, started coming, like, money-wise first, because of my limiting beliefs and everything that in my household that was said, like, this is too expensive. Just the beliefs around money was like, the money are always like slipping through your fingers. There is never enough. No matter what you do, you don't have money. Like, so I just understood that the link between that and my beliefs that I had.
So you said
just so obvious,
Yeah. So
Sorry?
So you said no at first because of money, right?
Money mostly, but I also have to say, like, okay, so the time, I'm like, okay, so this is like in 4 or 5 days. Okay, like my job, responsibilities. I don't want to jeopardize my life or do anything that's gonna, like, harm somebody outside of me or myself. Of course, I have a child. I'm a single mother of course, co-parenting with her father, but like, I want to do, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it correctly. I want to do it in a way that it's going to be like, everything is clear and I can just go and do that for myself.
And then you don't have to worry about anything else. Like, you don't have to
Exactly.
feel guilty for leaving your daughter or your job or something.
Exactly. Because then it wouldn't be out of love, right? It would be like, am I running away from something? And that's not something I want to do. And that's not where I am. I have made decisions in my past based off of fear and trying to like, everybody, it's not, I have to rephrase myself. Like, for me, at one point in my life, when I made certain decisions based out of fear or wanting to, escape reality or do something that, would ease something, pain or fear or anxiety right at this moment. But I knew that if I was going to do something like this for myself, it was to be really for an investment in myself for the long term. So that's like, and I know that when I aligned with that, I felt and I knew that it was out of love. So yeah.
So it was that night. So it was Sunday night. So because Sunday we talked, it probably was Sunday night for me, Monday morning for you, right? That you said, hey, I'm so sorry. Like, I wish I could come, but I can't make it.
It was Sunday night for me.
It was Sunday night for you.
It was Sunday night for me.
And then you went.
Because that night is also like, the details are coming. Yeah. So after saying like, thank you so much, and I appreciate everything you are like trying to really make this easier for me as much as you can, to make me come there and everything, but I don't think I can afford it. And I'm just like, another time we will meet. And I think this, something like that, right? So I was bummed. I was like, so like, damn, like I felt like I had to reply that, but at the same time, I'm like, but I want to go. Mm-hmm. And what happened that night, it was like, I couldn't sleep. I was thinking also, of course, about this and everything that was happening in the background with this thing happening in the family. So what I did, I was just like, okay, Anna, either you're going or not going. Just like try and imagine yourself being there. How would you feel? What would you do? Can you sense the breeze of the ocean? Can you like feel the sand under your toes? Can you imagine being there with those people, having yoga at sunset or having coffee in the morning and breakfast with them? What are you talking about? What are you smelling? What are you seeing? What are you hearing? Like, just painting a picture in my mind and trying to emotionally dive into that picture.
As you were falling asleep.
Sorry?
As you were falling asleep?
As I'm falling asleep, but I didn't fall asleep because I was awake and I was meditating. So I was like kind of, between awake and because I was conscious, but I was diving so deep into this picture. So I was just trying to put myself in that picture and just, imagine and play with it and just for maybe making myself feel better, because I have been reading, of course, so many self-help books all these years, working on myself, my own healing journey, my working with meditation and yoga and just all of these years. And I'm like, okay, but let's apply it then. This is the time when no matter what happens, like no expectation. I've already like responded to you and also said like, I'm not coming. So it was it was for me like, okay, so now I have nothing to lose. So why can I just, go and imagine that, how that will feel. So I did that for an hour and a half or two. I cannot remember because I know like it was 3 a.m. when I fell asleep. So probably I was doing that for like since 1 a.m. or something like that. And then I woke up in the morning. So I just fell asleep after that. And then I woke up in the morning and that was when I was like, okay, Ben, forget what I said. I want to come. I want to come so bad because I feel that like in my gut, in my intuition, in my cells, like I just felt I wanted and needed to be there.
So you woke up in the morning and you felt it like immediately when you woke up?
Yes. That's why the first thing I was like grabbing the phone and like, okay, I hope this spot is open. Sorry.
You sent me a voice message on Instagram.
Yeah, we have evidence.
Yeah, we did.
So because I was just, I don't know if that had sunk down to my subconscious or whatever happened with that meditation or visualization, imagination, whatever you want to call it. But I felt that I really used it to also make myself feel better, but also to just like, yeah, it was another way to overcome my fear, you know? So I think I used that imagination and meditation as a way unconsciously to overcome my fear and to overcome that feeling of fear and to make myself feel better.
Ooh.
You know?
Will you repeat that again?
Sorry?
Will you repeat those last couple sentences? I like that.
Yes. So what I realized as I speak, and like the more I think about it, like I realized that me responding, of course, that the money that I couldn't afford, and thinking about everything that has to be erased and everything, it is fear, because like, isn't that supposed to protect you from something that is, you know, unknown and something? Yeah. So out of that point, I was just like, yeah, with doing that, what you wanted me to repeat, what I was doing with the meditation, the visualization of myself being there, I think that was a way to overcome the fear. Like now afterwards, I realized it was like me using that to overcome my fear or overcome that not good feeling and tap into a good feeling, you know?
Well, I love that, right? Because it is like, because yeah, fear is there to protect you, you know, from an unknown threat. But then,
Mm-hmm.
but then once you imagine yourself in there, you know, and anyone can do this at home, whether it's a decision at work, you know, a decision with a partner, a retreat that you went to, or a coaching program, or getting a dog. I don't know, you know, it's like, you can just picture yourself there. Okay, the immediate answer is no, because all these things can go wrong. But if I'm there, then you start to feel, oh, everything is okay. Here's what I'm getting from this. And you start to see the good because you actually are there instead of like it's not so, it's not unknown really anymore because you're there. That's interesting. I really like that.
Exactly. And what you just spin on that, because it becomes known. For me, it became known. It was like the gap between the unknown and known closed with me imagining myself being there. You with me?
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, that's so cool. I've never really thought about that. I like that a lot.
You know, because like I felt like with me being afraid, and of course, like I'm not going to afford it, and the initial reaction and answer was out of fear, I felt like me going into this and imagining myself helped me to go from the unknown to actually known, because I already have seen myself there, right?
Ooh, that's so cool.
So the imagination helped me and can help anybody. Like whenever you're in despair, or whenever you are in a situation that you don't wish upon yourself, you don't want to be there, how are you going to get out of that if you don't create a new situation? So you have to start with your imagination, right?
Wow, I love that so much, Anna. And like, so man, this is so cool. So yeah, we were super happy. You sent me the voice message. You know, I helped you with the details of like, you know, the flight and all these fun things and where to go. And
that was all over the place. I'm like, can you send me, please?
Yeah, but I was so stoked. You know, just the story in itself that someone who lives in Sweden decided 3 days before to buy a flight, you know, spend a few $1,000 to come across the world. It's just like it was super humbling for me. And I know we've already thanked each other a million times, but,
Yeah.
but like,
not enough, obviously, because we're still like, did that really happen?
yeah,
I am.
it was so cool. Like, okay, so when you said yes, and all
Remember
these,
what I said to you? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
uh,
Remember when I sent you that voice message and like, Ben, okay, let me do the research and let me see if I can, you know, fix this with everything that was needed to be fixed, so I can, you know, do this in peace and love and do that from that space. And then the last thing I said in that message was like, once you tap into that, and once you realize what you want and that you really, really want it, everything else is fixable. Remember?
I love that.
And that came to me just as a confirmation, because if I really want to do this, like, I can arrange around in my circumstances in life and whatever it takes, of course not harming myself or anybody else. I'm not saying like go to lengths that are danger for yourself. Just do what you feel is right for you to do. So you can know if it's right for you to take a loan on those money, if you can repay it every month. Only you can know if it's okay for you. Like, you have to know that yourself. But it's important to know, I think, just like if somebody is hesitant or fearful of like doing a decision, making a decision that is stepping into the unknown or whatever has to do with money, has to do with big decisions. I think it's maybe a comfort, or maybe that's not a right word, but I think it's like maybe just a good feeling to know that, like, if I really really want this, everything is fixable. Like, I love that.
I love that too. And I've definitely felt that, like in my own experiences and risks and going big and all these things that like if you really do, there's an exercise, that, I sometimes teach people is like, okay, say things do happen. Say all these bad things that you're thinking of do happen. Is it preventable? And then what happens once that happens? Like, it's fixable, So like for you, you got a loan. Like, are you comfortable saying that?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, oh my God. Cool. And like for me, before a year ago, I invested $40,000 into my business, and that's scary. Like, yeah. $40,000 of debt, by the way. And so, but
what, $40,000? Uh-huh. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money. And so, but for me at the same time is, okay, if that happens, like if I lose it, I can make it back. Or I have the investments, or I have this job, or I have savings, like all these different things of, okay, if the worst case scenario does happen, I can still recover it.
And if you get to zero, Ben, you can start over.
Yep.
I mean, you're never like, of course, with your situation, and you've been really open and honest about like how your life situation is, and you're, at your mom's place and everything. But if you look at it, even if you're at zero and have risked everything, like, you still have a place, like you have a roof over your head, you can have food on your table, you have close ones, you have friends and family. And what does it take to really, like, risk? When we talk about risk and everything, like, it's not like if we even like end up in zero, you can only go up from that if you have that mindset, of course. Or if you have another mindset, you will get another reality. But that's just a comment on, yeah.
No, I love that. Yeah, thank you. And okay, so you said
where were we?
You said yes, which is awesome. But this, for some people, like, I love to ground our conversation in reality, because a lot of this sounds like a dream, and it still feels like a dream. But the reality is like the money and like the babysitter or whatever. And so, and right when you say yes, yeah, you have all these amazing feelings, you come to this retreat, you meet these amazing people, but there was still, well, I'm not going to assume, I will ask, were there still moments of fear and like, is this really happening? Is this really going to work out, like throughout the time of like the flight and on the flight and in the retreat? Like, what were those? Did you question anything at all?
No, because once I told you like that, okay, let's go back to just me telling you, like, hold up, after I said no, and I said, let me do the research. And then a couple hours later, I said, it's fixed, but it's just gonna take a couple of days and everything. And once I said yes, and once I have fixed everything with my job, my daughter is safe, she's going to be taken care of by her father, my house is good, my family is good, everybody's taken care of, everybody's safe, I felt like such a load of weight lifting off my shoulders, because that's also even bigger moment of overcoming myself than when I talked about before with the situation. We're receiving the news, terrible news, and then despite that, going into the call with you and feeling like I really overcame my fear. This one was times 100, because I felt like, okay, so look at your current situation. You have done this despite everything that's happening. And I can get like emotional right now because it's really like, wow, I have done something incredible for myself.
Yeah.
And I have done it out of like really, really tough mental state of having had a shocking news in family and feeling like really, really down and like darkness or despair, and seeing the light and following the light and really just like trusting that intuition that was stronger than my fear. In my case, this time, it was stronger than the fear.
I just got
And
chills.
huh?
I just got chills. Keep going.
Yeah. So for me, it was like overcoming that, and overcoming myself was just like a confirmation for myself. Like, my God, what can you not do? Can't you see? It was just like, for me, like such a revelation, almost like I don't want to say epiphany, but it was, this whole thing is like magic. Like, this is magic happening. Like, we can create magic and do magic by changing our perspective and like having the courage to follow our intuition. Because when we go from fear to freedom, as you call it, or from fear to revelation or like expansion or whatever you want to call it, it is because we have created it for ourselves, and because we have followed that light and that intuition. So for me, it wasn't like just about coming to the retreat. You can hear it's so much more. It's overcoming myself, it's overcoming my fears. And it was just like, yeah, I was just wowing myself, I guess. And
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Seriously, like that moves me because I haven't heard you say it like that. That it was so much more than just the retreat. Wow, that's so powerful. Like it really
you know
was saying
you
yes
know because
to you.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I was just like thinking, because like I really, really, really checked in so many times with myself, like, yes, I want to go. Why do I want to go? Like, I really asked the why question so many times. And I know I have been to yoga retreats before. I've been to Bali. I have done like, so much things around yoga and like connecting with people, and have, beautiful experiences before. But I was like, why is this something that feels so important and so strong? Why do I feel it in my gut so much, and I feel it here so much that I need to be there? It is because it's as if I almost knew, maybe because I dreamed it and had that meditation and really like imagine myself, I don't know, or because I've always known deep inside of myself that I want to do great things and I want to contribute to happiness and health of people in what way I can. And I'm still just figuring that out, but this has only just confirmed to me that, yeah, this is what I'm supposed to do. So it's bigger than myself. It's bigger than the retreat, and not to diminish the retreat, because it's the best thing that ever happened with connecting with all of you and getting all the tools and everything that I have brought with myself. That's a whole nother topic. But in this, like, overcoming the fear and the creation process of tapping into that state and really getting to that dream and living your dream. Because that's what I've been saying to myself all along. I'm like, yeah, I've been living my dream, and it's just a start, because it felt just like it was a stepping stone. Yeah.
I love that so much. Yeah. And like, it's not diminishing it at all. If anything, it's exalting. It's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly.
That's so cool. Like, okay, before we jump into all the amazing things that happened at the retreat and after the retreat, what moments previous to this did you say no to?
I'm sorry. Can you
So
ask
yeah,
again?
so what moments in life did you say no to? Like, have you had any regret or moments of saying no to something that you wish you said yes?
Wow, that's a really good question, because I think in my life in general, I have said more things, more yes to things, and regretted it,
Yeah.
than saying no and afterwards, why didn't I do it? Because I know myself, like I am like a spontaneous person in general, and I have done some really, really spontaneous things in my life before. But I know from what place I have based my decision this time. Like, if I have said yes to things before, being the person that I am, I know that I have always followed my heart. Like, even if I have in the end realized, oh, this wasn't so good, I have been able to, replace it, or how do you say it? Like I have been able to,
Reframe it.
um, huh?
Reframe it.
Yeah, and do better, right? Because once I knew better, I did better. I love that quote from Maya Angelou. Once Maya Angelou,
Mhm.
once you know better, you do better. So I kind of live by that, because I do maybe plunge into things too spontaneously or too impulsively, judged by other people from the outside, and maybe, and that's just something that might be somebody's opinion, and maybe I have at certain points adopted that opinion of myself based from other people, because I wasn't rooted in myself making that decision at the time. But no, I don't think I have in my life said no and regretted it. I think I have more said yes and regretted it, but then realized that it was a bad decision. And I just, once I knew better, I realized that, and I made a better decision. And apparently, thanks to those decisions and reframing them and making them better, has led me here to finally, like, just base them off of my authenticity and off of my true self.
So,
I
well,
love.
I love that, because I think for me, right now is the immediate question of like, well, what have you regretted? But for you, it's saying yes to things, and even if they don't go how you
Mhm.
expect in your head, it's still
Yeah.
learning from them. And so I
Yeah.
think even that's a great lesson. And so, what's your advice for someone who isn't as spontaneous and doesn't say yes to as many things? How can they tap into their intuition of, should I do this? Should I not do this? Like, what would you tell that person?
Yeah, because if you're opposite, so if you're not spontaneous like
Yeah.
me, if you're opposite and you don't like dare to engage in things, maybe you're more introverted, or maybe you're more cautious, and fully respect that. I think it has to do more with then going back to that why, and going back to that just checking in with yourself, like really, really going back to what do I want, and what do I like, what do I feel is calling me, like what am I pulled to, what am I drawn to, why am I drawn to this, and what is the worst thing that could happen, like as we spoke, if it's a risk for you doing that, well, okay, we all have to risk something, of course, not our health and well-being and the people around us, and not to harm anybody, but if it has to do with something that you're hesitant of, try and just imagine in a head what it would feel like to be there or do that, or whatever it is that you want. And if you're hesitant, like, just play with it. You don't have to do anything. You can just like use your imagination, and then like start, okay, so how would it feel to be there, if it doesn't have to do with any obstacles, like if there were not any obstacles, not in money, not in like practical things, not with kids, not with anything, like if there were no obstacles, what would you do? So trying to tap into that, I think, can help just to get a sense of it, because once you tap into it and get that feeling going, you start, maybe collecting the courage, because I think that's what I did. I really, really collected that courage within myself. I don't know where that comes from. I think we all have that. I just believe that we need to bring that forth. So yeah, I would say to that question more of, if somebody is hesitant and saying more no and maybe regretting later, maybe you can ask yourself, like, imagine yourself being 80 or 90, say 80, because we probably, yeah, most people would probably live to be 80 than 90, but, and just like imagine yourself sitting there 80, watching out the window and reflecting on your life. I mean, I know I will have crazy stories to tell my grandkids, definitely, but that's me. But if you're on the opposite end and you're like saying more no to things because of fear, or because of you thinking you will regret it, or lose or risk or something on it, just like, I'm getting the chills now, just sit
Mhm.
there and imagine yourself being 80, looking out the window, reflecting out of your life, and thinking like, how would you feel then,
Mm.
doing it, not doing it?
Boom. I
Both.
love that. Well, dude, that was awesome advice. Yeah, this is awesome. Cool. I think, I mean, that essentially, you gave great advice to listen to intuition, and, how to recognize fear, and, lean into that fear. To end this conversation, I would like to end, on a high note. Will you talk
Yeah.
about all the amazing things of what happened since you said yes?
Oh wow. Yeah. I got on that plane, and just to answer that question, I think I already did. No, I did not feel any anxiety, any hesitation, anything. As I said, once I said yes, once everything was arranged with work, my child, and money, and the ticket and everything, I was just like almost flying there myself, not flying the airplane. I was
Ooh,
literally
I love that.
feeling myself. And once there, of course, um, just so amazed by all those wonderful people, um, so many beautiful and incredible stories that people were sharing, opening up. So, I mean, and the crazy thing is like so many, I think you agree, like-minded people, and also like similar stories, similar, like maybe traumas or
Backgrounds.
issues, or with codependency and stuff like that. We all felt that in some way, of course, coming from different lives and backgrounds, and where we come from.
You take, I think your hands over the mic.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There we go.
You need me to repeat
No,
something?
you're good. Just so similar backgrounds.
Yeah. So yeah, once at the retreat, I mean, I was literally feeling like, oh my God, where did I land? Is this the dreamland? Like, I definitely felt that. And I'm not just saying that because, like, yeah, America is known to be the land of the dreams and everything. But I'm telling you, it's my first time. And I mean, I just need to say this as well as just, something aside. But I have been talking about going to America for a couple of months, just talking like to my friend. She knows that I'm like, oh, but you live there and I've never been there. We should go there because we have a mutual friend who lives in New York. So we've been talking like past 2-3 months, like, oh, we should go visit her. And I'm like, would love to. I've never been to America. I love to. I would love to go to America. I would love to go to America. Like, when you reflect and you think back on it, I think that also had something to do with me speaking it into it. Now when I think back, but just not to go too astray, of all the amazing things that happened at the retreat was the value that I got from the knowledge, the tools, the connections I made, the friends I made. I mean, it's priceless. It's something that has enriched my life. It has switched my perspectives. It has empowered me, encouraged me. It has validated. Like once I was in that room with you, and also the last thing I think you or Adrian said after we cold plunge, she was like, any of you here can do this. Any of you standing here have the capacity and ability to do that. And I have always felt like I can do something that is of greatness. I don't know in what way. I just have always felt that I have had that in me. And having to play small, like half my life, almost like entire life, it was so liberating to just like also tap into that and heal that part of myself, as well as other things that I healed that weekend. But yeah, so it was just, I mean, magical, transformational, life-changing, and really, really affirming and reaffirming for myself that, Anna, you should really, really do this, what you have been thinking about doing for the past year and something, and also what I have been kind of touching upon the last months, wanting to start my own business and do something to help other people. So, yeah.
I love that so much. Like, thank you. Like, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for taking a chance on you. Thank you for taking a chance on me, Adrian, everyone else, because I know we're going to be friends, like soul connected forever. Everyone else there, seriously, like it was so cool to see strangers, from across the world and across the US just become so close in just only 3 days. And that's what's so crazy.
I know.
It was so cool. I mean, you just said that you talked to two of the other people who were there just earlier today. And like, seriously, like we will be friends and connected, more than friends. I don't even know how to say it, family here.
It feels like family. It feels like a
Community.
soul family. It feels like, I'm sorry for interrupting. I mean, yeah. And I mean, it was just yeah, it's so hard to explain with words when you haven't experienced it. But once you're, oh, sorry.
Are you okay?
Oh, sorry.
You're here.
It was my mom. My mom wanted to FaceTime me. She has to wait. This social distancing new thing, how we socialize. Okay, what I wanted to say was yes, having experienced that, only then with having that feeling of being there, can you really like, understand it or understand it. I don't know if it's a word, I've just heard that word, but that understanding, once you've like really experienced that, you have shed the tears, you have done the plunges, you have done the workouts, you have cried, you have eaten all that delicious food, you have had those conversations, you have connected, you have heard all those wonderful people talking, speaking in their expertise, and just the beautiful thing was like I didn't even feel like you guys were like the teachers. You were here, and us students, we were here. You're supposed to teach us something. We were involved like the whole time. I felt like I could talk and speak whenever I wanted, and you guys involved us and integrated us, and it was just like an ongoing conversation for 5 days, right? It was just
I love that.
so amazing. Yeah, I love that. And I had talked to a friend who I'm still friends with, who I was in a retreat in Bali doing yoga 2 times a day and like meditating and really like digging deep and stuff. We talked today. She's still my friend. Love her. And she's like, so what's the difference from when we were, in Bali? And I just told her this, that they involved us into the conversations, into the workshops, into every bit and detail of the retreat, whether it is the workouts, whether it is the food, whether it is just everything. So I'm just so immensely and like grateful and thankful. I feel just so blessed. I don't know what, like sometimes I'm like, what happened? So
I love that, because like you said, magic. You created it, we created it, everyone else created it. Like it's not scarce. Whether it's money, whether it's passion, whether it's connection and love, like it's never scarce, and we can create it and have it anywhere. Like it's never ending. There's no beginning, there's no end. It just flows abundantly.
It's an infinite field of possibilities, and I think we've heard that from different teachers and people speaking about it. Well, once you get yourself there to that space where you trust that so much and you're so in tune with that, miracles happen, and they do happen. But the miracle is not a magic wand, of course. I mean, we've all seen the movies and Cinderella and everything, but this is like real life movie that you create yourself, that you direct yourself, that you write your script, that you really like master yourself. And once you do that, you have those inner tools to help other people do the same. And we all have different talents. Maybe we're in the same field of work, but we have different perspectives. We have different things to bring to the table. And I mean, we can complement each other. We can work together. I don't believe in competition. That's another topic. But what I'm trying to say is that you are your own creator. And I have experienced this like live. Not a movie. I have experienced it live as I've been going these past couple of weeks. I have been creating my reality, and I realized that now. And of course, speaking about it, and I think that's what I want to put out there and convey to people, and try to make them realize that you can, despite everything, because life is a challenge, and we're supposed to probably have those down periods and have those depressions and have those anxieties, unfortunately, and the pain and everything and the suffering, for us to put ourselves bring ourselves from the ashes.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, that's beautiful. I mean, I don't need to say anything because I know everyone listening was just like, woo, But Anna, like, you're a beautiful soul. Thank you. Like,
thank you.
I love you. Thank you for sharing.
I love you.
Your soul.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It's an honor. I'm like, I could talk about this for hours, but I understand, like, some people are like, okay, this is enough. Let me digest this.
Yeah, this is a great start for people. I'm excited. This is the beginning of a new journey for me too. So thank you for being a part of that with me.
Thank you. Anytime, anytime. I'm here. Thank you so much for all the amazing opportunities and everything that you have co-created this with
That's
me.
right.
Right? Thank you
One,
so much.
one last question. What do you choose, fear or freedom?
What I choose?
What do you choose, fear or freedom?
Freedom, of course, and I would even say expansion.
Mm-hmm. Boom. I love it. Well, thank you so much. And
Thank you.
last question. Um, well, are you going to change your Instagram name or are you going to leave it? I can't remember.
I'm sorry.
What is your Instagram so people can follow you?
So I'm I'm at Nicolia11. So Nikolig or J. Sorry, J A 11, and that's my private that now has gone public. That's also another topic about how I have freed myself from that as well. Yeah, I feel like all those mental chains have been broken and just boom, yeah, firing out through the roof. And so it's Nikolija 11. And also I have a second Instagram account called Royalty Consulting with my friend that we have started as a business together. But the address or the name is Consulting Royalty. So it's at Consulting Royalty in one word. Yeah, we can, go from there.
Awesome. I want to thank you so much.
Thank you, Ben. I love you. Thank you for this opportunity. And
All right. Everyone have an amazing day.
Yeah, have a great day.